Hello and welcome to the first video in the writing workshop series. So this video is about unpacking an essay question or prompt and constructing a thesis statement. So a statement on a thesis statement to begin. Things you need to do. Do explain the what. So you get in a question, answer what, but also make sure you answer why or how. Go that step further, it's really important. Do have your thesis statement as the last sentence of your introduction. This is because the reader expects it to be there, so to make it easier for the reader to navigate your essay, by having it at the last sentence, they can immediately jump to it and see what your essay is going to do. Always refer back to it, whether it's in topic sentences, concluding sentences. Always refer back to the thesis statement because it is the central claim to your whole essay, the central point that you're trying to make, your major argument, so everything needs to back it up and refer back to it. Again, make sure it's one central claim, and anything that doesn't apply to it or back it up shouldn't be in your essay at all. Also, sum it up in one sentence. There's nothing worse than a thesis statement that's over like a few sentences long. It's really difficult for the reader to find and see. So have it in one sentence. Things not to do. Do not write in this essay. It's lazy, sloppy writing. Do not fail to take a stand or make a central claim or argument. Otherwise, what's the point in writing it? You are trying to say something important. You're trying to show or argue something important. So your thesis statement should reflect this. Do not give specific evidence which will be used in your body paragraphs. Don't do this at all in your introduction. And do not use personal pronouns in your thesis statement, such as I, me, my, or anywhere else for that matter. So some examples of good and bad thesis statements. Let's look at the bad ones first. So in this essay, I will discuss the most significant symbol in Lord of the Flies. Well, first of all, in this essay. Nope, lazy, sloppy writing. Secondly, I. And thirdly, will discuss. We're not discussing anything. You're writing something, I'm reading it. Next, in William Golding's novel, Lord of the Flies, there are many possible themes which include savagery and the weak and strong civilization. Okay, the problem with this, it's a standalone sentence, which is good. You can remove it from the essay and it still makes sense. But there are many possible themes, okay? It's not really taking a stand. It's not really explaining how or why. It's just a list of what the themes of the book. So it's not really a good thesis statement to an essay. If Jack was a leader and Ralph was a hunter, the story would have ended differently. Okay? How would it have ended differently? Also, who's Jack and who's Ralph? Again, your thesis statement should be a standalone sentence that if you remove it from the essay, the reader will still understand the context and know exactly what your essay could do. I don't really understand the full context here. Again, same with the last one, little uns play a huge role. I don't know, again, does it really show anything? Is it a standalone sentence? As they show innocence and how it is lost through trauma. Okay, this one's much more improved, but again, it's difficult to see without the full context. So it's important that your thesis statement can explain everything. So let's look at some good ones. In his novel, Lord of the Flies, William Golding uses characters and the setting to develop the themes of savagery, civilization, and human nature. Right, what's good about this? First of all, it's a standalone sentence. All of these are. I know exactly what the essay is going to be about. I know it's about William Golding's book. I know it's about the Lord of the Flies. I also know it's going to be about the themes of savagery, civilization, and human nature. Perhaps one paragraph for this, one paragraph for this, and one paragraph for this. And I've explained the how he's used the characters and the setting to develop these themes. In William Golding's most prolific novel, Lord of the Flies, the antagonist, Jack, uses fear of the beast to make the boys commit acts of violence on anyone who does not join his band of hunters. Again, standalone sentence. I understand the full context of what's going on, what the essay is going to be about. It also explains the how. So a really good thesis statement. The third one, in William Golding's Lord of the Flies, the pig's head and the conch both control the boys. Yet the former is used to symbolise a vision of a civilised society, whilst the latter is used to symbolise a society controlled by fear. So if I just had the black, in William Golding's Lord of the Flies, the pig's head and the conch both control the boys. That explains the what, but I had to add the why or the how to make this a proper thesis statement that gives me an argument or a claim that I can make and then back up through the entirety of my essay. Without that, it's just going to be a summary. The last one, through three central characters, Ralph, Jack and Roger, William Golding presents the central message that evil is inherent in mankind. Again, so by having these three, Ralph, Jack and Roger, I'm probably going to have a paragraph about Ralph, a paragraph about Jack, and a paragraph about Roger. Again, I've explained the how, he's doing it through the characters, and the what presents the central message that evil is inherent in mankind. Again, without this, without the purple, it's just answering the what, it's not enough. There's no claim, there's no argument that I can then back up with evidence. Also, just so you can see with the colours, the how or the why can come in the middle, can come at the end, or it can even come in the beginning. So when you're thinking about answering how or why in your thesis statement, use these words. They'll make sure that you're doing this. So unpacking essay questions and prompts. Well, most of these are really easy to unpack because they already have why in it. So Lord of the Flowers is said to be a parody of Coraline. Why is this? When you're making a thesis statement, it's really easy to answer why because it's in the question. So because of, due to. How does William Golding use foreshadowing in the first three chapters to reveal what will happen? Through the use of X, Y, and Z. Golding foreshadows what will later happen in the novel. So through the use of Piggy's name, or through the use of Piggy, through the use of the setting and the literary devices, whatever you think, you can answer the how. Same with all of these. Let's look at this last one. This doesn't have how or why. The pig's head and the conch both have power over the boys. In what ways do these objects' powers differ? In what ways is the Lord of the Flies a book about power? About the power of symbols, about the power of people to use symbols to control a group. Right. This looks like the hardest one, but it's actually probably the easiest one. It's already given you a way to write 3 body paragraphs. Some of the others might make that difficult, but in this one, in what ways do these objects' powers differ? That's 1 paragraph. In what way is the Lord of the Flies a book about power? About the power of symbols? That's 1 paragraph. And in what ways do people use symbols to control a group? That's a paragraph. In your thesis statement, you're going to need to answer the how or the what, the how or the why, sorry. Well, in what ways is kind of a how. How does he do this? In what ways does he do this? So be careful of that. Just because it says what doesn't mean it is a what. It's still a what. It's still a how. Let's look at these ones. These ones are not how or why questions. So, what are the important symbols in Lord of the Flies? Well, you need to think, what are they? Okay, so there's the conch, there's the beast, and there's Piggy's glasses. Well, what do they all do? How they all symbolise different types of power. So Golding uses them in order to symbolise different types of power. I've had to think, before I've constructed my thesis statement, what are the symbols? Why are they there? How are they connected? Again, if you're not answering how or why, you're not really making a point. You're not making a central claim. In this one, we've got identify. Well, that just means the same as what? What are 3 symbols? So I've just used the same one again. What, if anything, might the dead parachute symbolise? Does he symbolise something other than what the beast symbolises? In Lord of the Flies, William Golding uses the dead parachutist and the beast to symbolise how fear of the unknown can be used to control people. I've got this word too. So therefore, I've answered how. The last one, compare Ralph and Simon, both seeming to be good characters. Is there a difference in their goodness? This one was hard. This one was much harder. So in Golding's novel, The Lord of the Flies, Ralph represents a balanced human nature, whereas Simon is characterised as innately good, in order to act as a foil to Jack's innately violent character. I've had to go a step further here and think about how I'm going to answer how or why. So the last thing I want to discuss is the purpose of a thesis statement through an analogy. So you're going into a tunnel. Your tunnel is your essay. Your thesis statement is the sign telling you this is a tunnel and this is the purpose of the tunnel. This is where the tunnel is going to take you. When you're in the tunnel, you shouldn't be able to see things that are irrelevant, things that are outside. You have tunnel vision. Okay, so everything needs to be in support of your thesis statement. If it's not, remove it from your essay. Okay, that was the first video on writing a thesis statement.